Hey everyone, I'm Rather Coherent. Today I'm back with more Path to Carcosa. We're going to be tackling Scenario 5 of the Return 2 set, A Phantom of Truth. I've already done all the setup, and a quick note before I continue from there, we actually have one mental trauma now. There's an interlude between these chapters. And it turns out if you burn the house down, you do get a mental trauma. So it's not just objectively right to burn the house down. There is an argument for just killing them all instead, like I did, which made burning the house down pointless. But what can you do? I've got mental trauma now, nothing to do about it. Before we start A Phantom of Truth, let's talk about the deck upgrades. With Jenny, I've spent 5 experience on upgrading Well Connected and Money Talks. They're just powerful big money upgrades. I can use Money Talks as almost a pseudo water protection that draws a card. Just doesn't work on Ancient Evils, which is the main reason I like water protection, but it's still useful outside of that. And Well Connected comes online faster now, as well as giving the ability to spend 2 resources to use it a second time in a round. The big upgrade for Jenny, though, is the Red Clock. The way it's supposed to work is it gains a charge every round, and then if it has 1 charges, you get +3 to your skill test. Just the first one. And if it has 2 charges, you can move 2 times. If it has 3 charges, you get an extra action. If it has 4 more charges, then it does nothing, but you can take those charges as resources and restart the cycle. But that's only how it's supposed to work. If you use something like Eldritch Sophist, you can take the charges it's generating off of it, stalling it out on whatever your preferred number is. Probably gain an action every turn, but potentially just move twice. You have to put those charges somewhere, so with my adaptable swaps, I brought in not only Eldritch Sophist, but the Eye of Chaos. As long as you bring in a card with charges here, it's going to be great. I picked Eye of Chaos. I could have picked any of the Mystic clue-finding assets, and it would have been pretty similar. I like this one specifically because it has no downside, and its main downside is that because it's a Curse Synergy card, that package just tends to cost more resources, which is hardly a downside for Jenny Barnes. In the world of Sanity, though, Lily Chen's deck upgrade was much simpler. She upgraded 2 Safeguards because if Lily is so much slower than Jenny, literally having half the actions on a given turn, it'd be nice not to spend them moving. And then Stand Together because drawing cards is pretty awesome, and the deck's largely feature complete right now, so I'd just like it to come online faster. We also both got the Lost Soul weakness, which, since we have more conviction than doubt, is Test Brain X, where X is your book. If you fail, take 2 damage. For Lily, that's nothing. For Jenny, it's probably dealing 2 damage. So, let's get into it. Agenda 1A, the first night. As you step off the train in Guerre d'Orsay, the sun sinks below the Paris skylines. You cannot waste any time. If Nigel Ingram is somewhere in Paris, you have to find him and wring answers from him one way or another. And since we have more conviction than doubt, this agenda gains. When checking the Doom threshold, Doom on cards other than this agenda subtract from total Doom in play instead of adding to it. And the reason for this seemingly beneficial effect is because in a conviction run, if I'm remembering correctly, you actually need to wait out the Doom clock to win, whereas a doubt run, you would be doing something in the Act deck. That second part's speculative. I've only ever played this as a conviction run. Anyway, Act 1, the Parisian Conspiracy version 2. You pass the Church of St. Barnabé as you exit the train and cannot help but overhear the organ playing. Is there a sermon this late in the evening? You marvel at the wild and strange chords for a moment before continuing. Paris is a big city and you have very few leads. Objectives when the requisite number of clues to advance. There's also a second objective. At the end of the round, if there are 3 more Doom in play, advance. You only need 4 clues to progress it, and if I'm remembering correctly, they both lead to the same thing. It's just a question of if you take horror in the process. We start at Montparnasse because we interviewed Jordan Perry, which also gives each of us 3 additional starting resources. It's a 1 shroud, 2 clue location, and after I discover any clues from here, I discard cards with head icons on it equal to the number of clues I got. If I can't, take 1 horror. So it sounds like I'm taking horror, because I don't see myself ever willingly taking that effect. Opening hands. For Lily, Deep Knowledge is great. And even though I need Eldritch Sophist and Eye of Chaos eventually for a combo, I don't need it right now. So I'm going to draw 4 new cards. Double, and 2 easy marks. And a Deep Knowledge, Jenny's online. That's fantastic. For Lily, we don't care about these Azure Flames at all. They're only in the deck as lingering afterthoughts because of Dragon Pull. It's nice to have them if I miss my weapon, but I'm not going to hold them. I will keep Safeguard level 2. Will I? I'm going to. I'm very hesitant about it, but, well, if it gets like Cyclopean Hammer, nothing even matters. That's really the only card in the deck that I have to hit, but I'm glad I kept it, and Stand Together level 3 is incredibly nice to see opening hand. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I'll be going first as Lily. Play Stand Together level 2. We each gain 2 resources and draw 2 cards. Black Fan and Counter Espionage is nice. Tetsuo and Holy Rosary is also nice. I guess I'm going to first turn over Vigilance so I have all these resources. to play Cyclopean Hammer, Holy Rosary, and Tetsuo Mori for 7, because I get a discount of 3, 1 for each of them. And the last action, I will put Safeguard in play. Yeah, I'd say Lily's well and truly set up. That was a pretty solid turn 1. As for Jenny Barnes, we spent 4 resources to put Double into play. Going to play an Easy Mark to gain 2 resources and draw a card. Going to tap Double as an Easy Mark to gain 2 resources and draw a card. And I'm going to play the Black Fan for 3 resources. The reason I'm not playing my last Easy Mark now is because I have nothing else in my hand to duplicate if I want to gain resources. And duplicating Deep Knowledge is not actually great. It's going to overflow my hand and make me discard cards that I probably want to put into play at some point. So by putting the Black Fan into play now, I'm probably giving myself an extra action next turn, which is going to be very, very helpful. And if not, it's still avoiding the problems that using Double on Deep Knowledge might cause. Anyway, no enemies in play, so upkeep phase. Emergency Cache level 2 is nice. Chain Together is also nice. 1 of 6 Doom. Don't remember if I shuffled the encounter deck. Sign of Haster, I'll be attaching to the Act, because the Act is progressing very quickly no matter what. And Deadly Fates. You test 3 Brain. If you fail, then I discard cards on top of the encounter deck until I get an enemy, and I draw that. I don't really care about failing this, so I'm just going to take the test straight and pass. Get out of here. I'm going to go first on Lily since I drew the Stand Together to give it to Jenny. My job is to guard Jenny, so I'm just going to draw some cards now, I think, because I don't need resources for anything, and I want to draw something like 6 cents. Well, that's not helpful. I'm going to flip my Brain Discipline because it will come back since I haven't taken any damage. I don't know why I drew a token. I meant to say I'll draw again. And Brother Xavier's nice to see. I'll probably be playing him next turn. Unfortunately, without 6 cents, Lily is just dedicated bodyguard, but that'll be fine. Jenny can easily get all the clues herself. First action, I'm going to play and duplicate Emergency Cache with my Double. Red Clock is very nice to see. Oh, and because we've gone up to 15 resources, we now have our 4th action. I'm probably going to be getting these clues with an intel report, as opposed to taking the 2 horror, because I can double it on another location at the same time. So I'm going to move up with Jenny. I'm going to tap Safeguard on Lily, and have her tag along. The Gardens of Luxembourg. 2 Shroud, 2 clues. Force, after you enter Gardens of Luxembourg, there's at least 1 Byakuya enemy in play. There is not, so none of this fires off at all. And this is only 2 Shrouds, so I can easily investigate here. I say easily. It's not all that easy, really. It's kind of sad. But I'm going to play the Red Clock, get it ticking up. And I should probably remember to pay for the Red Clock while I'm at it. Oh, apparently Class Black Onyx has a negative effect on my hand, so I'll just imagine I played it as my first action this turn and call it square. No enemies in play, upkeep phase. Leo DeLuca is nice to see because you spend so many actions just cycling through your deck with things like Easy Mark and Emergency Cache that just having an excess of actions is incredibly helpful. Top of the round, 2 of 6 Doom. We get a Praying Byakuya on Jenny, which will not survive along with a stat line like that. And this is going to pull the man in the Pallid Mask. And he spawns for this location, which is always this. It is the Père Lachaise Cemetery. Oh, and I imagine I'm butchering every French word in this scenario, for which I can only give my deepest apologies. Anyway, top of the round, I'm going to engage and then swing at 10-2. This would have readied last turn. I took no damage. Get out of here. And I spend 5 resources to play Brother Xavier. I'm going to play Easy Mark as my first action. Gain 2 resources, draw a card. I'm going to play the Easy Mark I drew, gain 2 resources, draw a card. I'm not sure if I want to double an Easy Mark. I think I do. Gain 2 resources, draw a card. I'm realizing I don't quite have enough space on my board for all the assets I'm playing. Going to spend 5 resources to play Leo DeLuca, get my 5th action, and I'm going to need a 7th soon. Speaking of things I'll need, I should place a resource on the Red Clock, and remember that I have +3 to my first skill test this turn. Let's spend 2 resources and play a Well Connected. For a moment, I was happy it was the upgraded one, but I realized I cut the other one from my deck, so it's not actually a chance to get the other one. And I just want to cycle my cards at this point. What I want to do right now is play Deep Knowledge, but I have so many times played Deep Knowledge with 2 actions left and hit drawing the sign. I would very much like to not just ruin myself. So I can't draw cards at this point in the turn. It turns out drawing the sign was probably not a good weakness for this deck to hit, because of this clunk that it enables right here. I've also failed to hit anything to boost my book other than just having money. I'm going to pick Faustian Bargain and not double-doubled, I think. I might need the money. I'm going to play Faustian Bargain for 5. I don't want to completely fill the bag with curse tokens. And I'm going to tap Well Connected to investigate at $1 million. 3, 4 from the fan, 5 from this, 9 to 2. Yeah, easy clue. No enemies, so upkeep phase. Black Market is a fantastic thing to see. Guts is alright, nothing wrong with that. 3 of 6. And at the end of the round, we'll progress this naturally, because we'll be at 3 Doom in play. Another Praying Byakhee for Ginny. And Hunted by Byakhee, test 6 book. Or test 6 foot, rather. If you fail, reveal the top X cards, where X the amount you fail by. If you reveal Byakhee, choose and draw one of them. And if you see an Omen, take 1 horror. That just sounds like we're drawing a Byakhee and taking a horror, probably, because we're going to fail by a lot. Testing 3 to 6. Yeah, we only fail by 4. I was expecting to reveal the maximum number without a curse token. So that's not that bad. Okay, so I reveal 4 cards. We don't get a Byakhee, and we don't get an Omen either. Nothing bad happens. And we put them back. Alright, I'm gonna go first as Ginny, start the investigation phase. Let's not do that, but start the investigation phase still happens. I play Black Market as Ginny. Another Deep Knowledge, drawing the sign. I think that was there when I was considering my Deep Knowledge. Another Black Market, Eldritch Sophist, the good money talks. Playing the next Black Market, by the way. Sacrificial Beast, Lola, Lost Soul, so all my weaknesses right here, Counter Espionage, and Hot Streak level 2. So it sounds like I double Hot Streak level 2 and play this Lola Santiago. But first, Ginny is going to go. Ginny is going to engage with, swing at, and kill this thing. Last action, I will draw a card. Actually, last action, let's say I play Deep Knowledge instead. I had 2 curses in the bag, I draw 1 card myself. Don't want to draw 2 cards myself. I'm going to give the other 2 to Ginny, because most of her weaknesses are in play already. They are not in play, but on the board with Black Market. For Ginny, first action, I will double this Hot Streak for 10 resources. I will play Lola Santiago for 3. I'll play Eldritch Sophist, even though he's not doing anything yet, for 4. Because essentially, by playing him now, I'm getting a free card draw, because he's not going back in the deck. I will play Gios for 2, and I promise not to commit any card to skill test during my turn. And with Well Connected in play, on my last action, investigating at $1 million. Doesn't matter, I fail. No enemies in play that have Hunter, although we should probably consider dealing with the Man in the Pallid Mask soon. So, upkeep phase. We get Lost Soul on Ginny. She's going to test her 5 head against her 2 book. So we had a skull, which is minus the amount of Doom in play, which is currently 3, which is the number to beat. So we're fine. And on Ginny's draw, we get another Faustian Bargain, which is good to see because these intel reports and counter espionages are not cheap. Top of the round, 4 of 6 Doom. End of the round, actually, before we do that. Sign of Hastur is thrown away because we're progressing the agenda, or the act rather, by having 3 Doom in play. We did not spend clues to advance, so you nearly bump into a tall man, his coat and hat as black as his skin is pale. He gives you a look of hatred, as intense and as deadly as you have ever seen. You recoil at the mere sight of him, and shadows gather around his feet as he marches towards you. Each investigator takes 2 horror. Spawn the set aside the organist enemy at the lead investigator's location. Hopeless, I defied him side, face up. Advance to Act 2A, stalked by shadows. So since the organist is entering play, I'm going to add these 2 copies of Figure in the Dark to the encounter deck. And because we have more conviction than doubt, what those are going to do is cause him to move to us. He spawns at our location. He is Hunter, cannot be damaged, 5 attack, 30 foot. Forced after the organist moves in the Hunter keyword. If it is unengaged, resolve its Hunter keyword again. The organist cannot attack this phase, limit once per round. Hopeless indeed. So we're going to be evading that 3 foot with well-connected foot checks on Ginny, I guess. He doesn't have prey, so he can go to whoever we want. We'll send him to Jenny, because Jenny's the one who has to evade that. Getting back to the Act 2A, Stalked by Shadows. I knew that every time I met him, it's just a quote from a book, who cares? Fast action, spend 2 clues as a group, either place one doom on the current agenda or automatically evade the Organist. Objective, survive 3 nights, do not advance until you are instructed. And as you can tell by the fact that we're placing doom on the agenda, as opposed to evading the Organist, which is a good thing, in a conviction run, my job is to advance the agenda as fast as possible. Because this guy's sort of a problem, and doubt you have a very different enemy you're dealing with. Going first as Jenny, I tap Well Connected. Nope, we don't do that yet. We draw our evil cards. We also make sure to add our Doom, 4 of 6. Deadly Fate, we're testing 3 Brain. We have a base of 5, and getting an enemy here doesn't really matter, so I'm just going to test at 5 to 3. Skull is -4, so I fail. And I discard until I get an enemy. Swift Byaku, welcome to the team. Prey, lowest remaining sanity, Hunter Retaliate, 2/3/2, hits for 1/1, and when it would move via the Hunter keyword, it moves to its prey's location. First action for Lily, I'm going to engage with the Swift Byaku and then crush its skull. Yep, that's how that goes. Goodbye. Last action, I'm just going to play Emergency Cash for 3. Jenny's turn. First action, I'm going to evade. It's 5 to 3 by default. I'll use Well Connected. It's the most important check of the turn. Squid is -2. Easy pass. Get out of here. And we'll have to Well Connected and evade him every 2 turns, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. Oh, investigation phase has resumed. These should be in the top of my deck by now. Which means there are at least 3 weaknesses in my 10-card deck. Nice to see. I'm going to play and double this Faustian bargain. There's something I'm sure your teammates love to hear. Going up to 33 resources. I'm going to investigate at 6 to 2. Get the last clue at this location. I'm going to move... Is there anything in my hand that can be discarded? Counter Espionage can, and Deep Knowledge. That's unfortunate. I'll try to get this with Intel Report next turn. I'm going to move this way, and Lily's going to safeguard with me. We go to Notre Dame, and we see a 4-shroud, 2-clue location. Each enemy gets +1 fight and -1 evade while they're here. And after you successfully evade an enemy at Notre Dame by 3 or more during your turn, you may take an additional action this turn, group limit once per round. Which is nice. Good to see. Oh, and I probably should take that to Horror the Act card told me to take. Which, like, why would I ever put it on myself as opposed to my friends? Of course, my book is only 6 right now. That is a good enough score to test that, so I'll do it. At this point, though, our job is just to go around, get as many clues as we can, get all the victory points. And since there are no victory points here, I don't care about this. I'm going to leave, and Lily's Safeguard does take effect on the whole turn, because Safeguard level 2 is insane. So, Les Marie, 3 Shroud, 2 clues. When your turn begins, if you are in Les Marie, draw 1 card. Group limit once per round. But again, there's nothing here that actually gives victory points. We don't care. Our job is to rack up Doom and get out of here as fast as possible. Enemy phase, Hunter is exhausted. Upkeep phase. We're going to unexhaust him as well. Top of the round, 5 of 6 Doom. And evil cards. I have more doubts, so I evolved the Organist keyword. Hello there. And Stealthy Byaku, it's a 5/2/3 monster, hits for 2/1. I can see how that could sometimes be scary, but it's not going to be. I'm going to go first on Jenny. I Well Connected a dodge check at 1,000,000 to 3. He is once again evaded. We have not been doing the red clock at all, halfway. Like, it would have been nice to have 2 movements or a free action at some point. But I'm going to say that at the start of this round, we just took all the resources and it was only 3 resources, or 4 resources. Because we just sort of forgot to be dealing with this, which, like, sucks. But since we don't have the ability to lock it yet, because there's nowhere to move its charges to, it's not the biggest deal in the world. We just lost 2 move actions and a free action, which is a lot, but we'll live. Next action, I'm going to walk up to Père Lachaise Cemetery. And of course, Lily is going to be safeguarding with me throughout this entire turn. It is a 2 Shroud, 4 clue location with victory 1. After an enemy moves here, it gets +1 horror for the remainder of the turn. Not too concerned about that effect. It's only 2 Shrouds, so we're investigating at 4 to kill the man in the pallid mask. That's up 2. I'm fine with doing that. -3 is not good enough. I'm trying it again. -1 kills him. So discard him and take Chasing the Stranger. We're up to 7 now. and we haven't used double this turn, which is a damn shame. I will just double intel report. I'm going to cast it at 4 twice, bringing me down to 31 resources to get all 4 clues in this location. And Lily hasn't taken her turn yet. She's just going to beat this thing to death at 10-5 and only has 2 health, so -5 is still enough to kill it in 1. Going to draw a card, looking for Promise of Power, I guess. Not really anything she needs to be doing. Oh, finding 6th Sense to help with clues, which is still drawing cards. Nothing alive to hunt us. Upkeep phase. Her weakness triggers. We'll flip over her brain asset again. It's just very easy to get that back. In fact, it goes off immediately at the top of this round. It's so helpful when you draw that during upkeep. Oh, it cannot flip back this round. Ha ha ha, I'm so dumb. Well, regardless, it'll go off next round. Upkeep for Jenny. Sacrificial Beast is going to spawn in. Where this location? I can put it in either of these locations. I'm going to go with the top left because it's where I actually want to go. I need to stop grabbing the wrong cards out of my hands. Happens all the time somehow. This man will ready as well. And top of the round, 6 Doom, we advance the agenda. Birds start to chirp eagerly. An orange tint slowly spreads across the sky as the creatures of the night shrink back into the darkness. You spend most of the day resting, and the daylight passes quickly with very little to show for it. Before you're able to fully recover from the previous night's events, it's evening once more. Each investigator disengages from each enemy engaged with him or her, and they move to a connecting location. Move the organist 1 location away from the nearest investigator to a location with no investigators if possible. When we get to move, even though it doesn't disengage with anyone, and since he's moving away from us, it'll go this direction. We're now at Canal St. Martin, 3 Shroud, 2 Clues, and you may use your fist in place of your foot here, and vice versa, which is neat, but not going to affect too much. Agenda 2, the second night. The city stirs as cold shadows embrace the streets. There's danger all around you, danger that you cannot escape, danger that will follow you to the ends of the earth. When will this waking nightmare end? It's got the same effect as the last one and a 5 Doom threshold. Alright, we still have to do our evil cards though. Marked by sign, test 2 if you fail. We got rid of the Man with the Pallid Mask last turn, thankfully. I'll just take the test at 5-2, that's no problem. Get out of here. Oops, I drew 2. This one should still be in the deck. Hunting Shadow. I either spend a clue or take 2 damage. I don't have a clue, therefore I take 2 damage. Which, I mean, my good buddy, Brother Xavier, takes 2 damage. Now, let's remember that when my turn starts as Jenny, we put a resource on the red clock and we get +3 to our next skill test, which is going to be against this 3 Shroud location. So we're investigating at 9-3 right now. 7-3. New Doom, that's nothing, so we get to remove a curse and take a clue. And then we're just going to investigate again, this time only at 6-3. +1 gets the other clue. Next action, I'm going to move down. Lily is going to activate her safeguard to come with me. Into Montmartre. 2 Shroud, 2 Clues, and there's the ability to spend a resource to add ammo to your guns here. But I don't really care about that at all. I'm just going to keep going. I'm here for victory points. So I'm going to walk left. Reveal this location. The Opera Garnier. 6 Shroud, 2 Clues, no victory. While you're investigating, double the base value of your skill. Neat, but not really relevant to anything I care about doing, so I'll move up. Ooh, I can't pronounce most of the words in this scenario, but I really can't pronounce Guignol. The Grand Guignol, Theater of the Great Puppet. 5 Shroud, 2 Clues. Action, spend 5 resources to place a Doom in the current agenda, or remove 1 Doom from the current agenda, group limit once per game, victory 2. And since we move in simultaneously, because of Safeguard's wording, we are able to have this thing engage onto Lily. Lily's first action will be to swing her hammer at 10-4, 9-4 actually, still good enough, and kill this. I'm just going to draw more cards, I think. I still need 6 cents. Still haven't hit it. Anyway, enemy phase, the Hunter keyword resolves, the Organist moves a second time, and upkeep phase. We don't care about either copy of Scrying, or this Dragon Pull. Now we're back under hand size. Over here, Emergency Catch level 2 is very good to see. Top of the round, 1 of 5 Doom and evil cards. Torturous Chords, we'll be testing that straight at 5-5 because I don't think we care. There's no reason not to use Well Connected on this. It's out of here. And Spires of Carcosa. We have to deal with this and get the Doom out. hold up. I run counter-espionage for a reason. I spend 6 resources and I play counter-espionage. We discard Spire of Carcosa, and then Lily draws a card from her own deck. The way counter-espionage works, since I haven't gotten to play it before, is a 2-cost fast event. You play it when you draw a treachery, not your weakness. And what you do is you cancel the card's relation effect and draw the top card of the encounter deck. For an additional 2 resources, you can change the top card of the encounter deck to your own deck. And for an additional 2 resources beyond that, you can change you to any investigator. So for 6, it's basically ward of protection for anyone on the board. All right, I do need to get these clues though. And I only have a base of 6, which isn't great. So let's start by trying to sort that out by using double on our emergency cache to gain 6 resources and 2 clues, or 2 cards rather. Also, it's the start of our turn. We can move twice this turn. And we have drawn the thing that we were looking for. I play Eye of Chaos for 5 resources. Eye of Chaos right now isn't very helpful, but it's about to keep us getting this action permanently from the red clock and allow us to investigate for 2 clues at a time. We are unfortunately only testing at 5 for that test, but in other locations that'll be helpful. I think I just take the test at 6 to 5 and I hate it. Oh, I'll take the test the first time at 15 to 5 with my level 0 money talks. Get rid of a curse token and pass quite easily. And then as much as I hate it, I will spend 5 resources for Lola to just get the card, or the clue rather, outright. Because actually getting through that without a well-connected charge is going to be pretty rough. I spend 5 resources as an action to do that. I'm going to activate Grand Guignol's ability before I leave to spend 5 resources in place of Doom on the agenda. Then I use my 2 resources, or my 2 free moves rather, from the red clock to head down here to Gerda Orsay. It's got 4 Shroud, 2 clues, and we can spend a resource to move to any rail location. And at this point, let me double check. I believe we've gotten all the victory on the map. We have. Cool. So all we're doing now is surviving. Well, if that's the case, my absolute best thing I can do is to play a Green Man Medallion and make everything really difficult on us by tapping this thing up every turn, huh? Like, I could have carried us out of the range of the Organist, but fuck that. I need to start getting experience. I no longer care about getting 6 cents on Lily. Lily's in a really weird spot where nothing she does actually matters. I'll spend 2 resources to put a talisman down on her. I'm gonna gain 3 resources as her whole turn. Like, we're just fine. There's nothing to do. Hunter phase, he moves and engages with us, but he doesn't attack because if you use his forced effect to resolve his Hunter keyword a second time, then he doesn't attack this phase. Upkeep phase. Lost Soul, Jenny is going to test at like 5 to 5. 5 to 6, actually. Her book is 1 higher. -2, I lose 3 resources. Thanks, Squid. And I also take 2 damage, which I'll be splitting again between Leo and Lola. And upkeep phase for Lily, I just straight forgot to even flip her icons because her turn mattered so little. First action, I'm going to well connected to get +4 to my current foot check of 6 to test at 10 to 3. Get this man out of here. Also, our clock goes up by 1 again, so we have an extra action this turn. And we will have this extra action for every turn after this one. Also, the game has no like support for having additional tokens. It doesn't snap to anything like the other ones do. Just not expecting you to have 6 actions a turn, which is kind of funny. Anyway, I feel like I played all the economy in my deck, so I'm going to double this deep knowledge, which pretty much fills the bag with curse tokens. Because, yep, drawing the sign. I knew that was coming. And then we draw 2 more. We put the horror onto Eldritch Sophist. There he is. Man of the Pallid Mask is immediately back in play. Goes into the top right again. We're going to spend 2 actions booting out, drawing the sign. And I think I'm just going to move twice towards the Man of the Pallid Mask. What I'm concerned with now is getting a lot of money into play. And none of this is able to do that right now. I'm going to move twice. Lily's going to safeguard with me. I'm going to tap up my Green Man Medallion. And Lily's turns just genuinely don't matter. I'm going to gain 3 resources. Upkeep phase. She finally got 6 cents, well beyond the point where it could ever matter. The Organist will ready. 3 of 5 Doom, and evil cards. And this has just been a walkover, hasn't it? Spend a clue or take a damage. I will gladly spend a clue. These literally do nothing. And test 4 book. How about instead of testing 4 book, you test 7 book? That's actually not that great. I mean, it's probably good enough. Yeah, easy. Just good enough. I suppose to speak more clearly, what I meant is she has to test 2 book against 4, and Money Talks lets me test 7 against 4 instead. And now it's our turn. Jenny, first action, I'm going to double hot streak. That seems very hard to object to. Going to move twice to the location of the man in the pallid mask. At the start of our turn, by the way, this thing gains a charge, which we're going to, right before it does, move a charge over to Eye of Chaos with the Eldritch Sophist. So we're just maintaining this check, or this extra action, rather, from the red clock. And we don't even care about the Eye of Chaos at this point, it's just here for extra actions, but why am I even talking? This scenario is over. I investigate at fucking 6 to 2 to kill the man in the pallid mask. He's gone, let's take it again. We're up to 8. Notice my last 2 actions gaining resources because really nothing matters at this point, which I will then tick down all of that on my Green Man Medallion for experience. I'm going to play the 6th Sense on Lily just because it makes me feel good about myself. Not that we're going to get to use it. And I'm going to gain 2 resources and go into the upkeep phase. Don't need the second 6th Sense. That one's not making me feel good. Upkeep phase on Jenny. By the way, in the Hunter phase, the Organist will move twice towards us, but it doesn't actually get anywhere near us this turn. Top of the round, 4 of 5 Doom. Oh god, we're gonna be here so long. Alright, I'm gonna start skipping my turns, I think. Okay, it's time to start playing substantially faster. I'm testing with well connected. The skill test doesn't matter, just on auto fail. Cool, thank you. I take 2 damage, it kills my Tetsuo. I'm not triggering his effect, I don't care. Our turns. On a Jenny, I am going to double emergency cash. Draw 2 cards, gain 6 resources. I'm going to move enough to get away from this man, which is 3 movements. Lily will be tagging along with me. 1, 2, 3. I am going to gain 2 resources and spend 3. As my turn ends, I'm just gaining resources and I'm passing actions at this point. Because I need to be tapping the Great Man Medallion constantly and taking my turns as quickly as possible, this turn is over. Upkeep phase, Hunter's move. 1, 2. We're done there. We need to discard some cards. The Cyclopean Hammer isn't relevant. We don't need these deep knowledges, that's for just very obvious. 5 Doom, we advance the agenda. To your relief, the sun once again began to rise, peaking just over the eastern horizon and casting long shadows across the city streets. You're completely exhausted from the night's events, and feels as though you haven't slept in weeks. Perhaps you haven't. Each investigator disengages, moves once, move the Organist to one location away, just the same as last time. Jordan Perry was killed, he will not be showing up. Agenda 3, the third night. On the evening of your 3rd night in Paris, a desperate resolve stirs within you. This cat and mouse game cannot go on any longer. One way or another, this night will end it. And it's the same as the previous agenda, pretty much exactly mechanically. We get to move once, and he moves away from us once, so we'll just do that. Evil cards before I start doing my stuff. Test 6 foot. Going to test well connected, just on auto fail. Easy game. And this is test 3 brain. If you fail, discard until you get an enemy. That's fine. I'm going to fail. I get rid of a curse at least. And we're going to discard until we get an enemy. It's Swift Byaku. Lily will go first. She swings. It's dead. I gain 2 resources and end my turn. Jenny does stuff during her turn. I guess it's going to be gain 5 resources and spend 3. But we're at a point where, like, we're clearly able to just never be caught by the Organist because Lily's just safeguarding around with Jenny. And if we did catch us somehow, we would just well-connected the dodge check. It wouldn't be a problem. And if we did fail the well-connected check, we have 4 or 5 more checks at 6 to 3, right? So I'm just going to draw the remaining 5 encounter cards and tick this up to 24. Because, like, none of these cards are capable of doing anything. Like, So this is actually a great example of exactly what my problem is with the Green Man Medallion. I don't want to hang out. The moment there's nothing engaging in the game, I'm just so bored of it. I test 5. If I fail, I spend resources on cards. It doesn't matter, and I can well connect it. Cool. That one's gone. Get rid of a curse token. Same turn, she gets frozen in fear. She tests 5 to 3. It sticks around. Next turn, test 2 brain. If you fail, take 2 horror. Well connected on every single check, which on this one will be -6, but that's still enough with well connected. It's gone. Next turn, she kills a Byakuya. That's enough. She tests brain, 5 to 2. -3, it sticks around. Next turn, frozen in fear. Torturous chords. It doesn't matter at all if we fail. We pass anyway. We test our frozen in fears. -2, it's gone. -2 is, it's gone actually. He'd probably catch up to us at this point. We'd have to spend our turns evading him. Oh look, he's already gone. Attach it to something. Attach it to something. Find the clues with intel reports. I have $1 million. And this would be discard 2 cards from your hand at worst. It's just like, we're done. The Mythos deck here isn't even a little bit threatening. He physically can't catch us without the event card, and if he does, we're testing at 6 to 3 to evade him. It's just, I cannot be bothered to play out the actual turns of it. It's such a foregone conclusion that I just do not care. Sorry for sort of like technically cutting the game 6 turns short, but technically I just skipped 6 turns. I guess to be totally honest, I'd have to move them in a little circle every turn, like a little episode of Scooby-Doo, and then he'd move twice towards us, then we'd move to the other corner, just over and over and over. At the point where I realize I just have to sit here for 6 turns, I'm not going to do it. That's my whole gripe with Green Man Medallion. Sorry to be so suddenly bitter. I didn't realize how much I was upset by it until I saw 6 turns left. Anyway, we advance the final agenda, 5 Doom. The sun rises and dispels the darkness. A warm fog envelops the city, blotting out the sky. And check the campaign log. We have more conviction than doubt. Advance to Act 2B. You lose track of yourself in the city as you flee for your life. Your feet move of their own accord. Flee for your own life is not how I would describe what just happened. I would describe that as the most under control thing I've ever seen, but okay. The beating of sinewy wings and screeching of creatures above you spurs you onward. Soon you find yourself running down a narrow avenue, passing a set of heavy iron gates. You are in a dead end, a court with tall houses on either side. You turn back towards the entrance and breathe a sigh of relief as you see the sun rising once more over the skyline of Paris. As though dispersed by the sunlight, the figure that had been chasing you folds into the shadows and vanishes. Just as you're about to leave, you spot a plaque next to a red-brown door atop a steep, narrow staircase. It reads, N. Ingram. We didn't intrude on a secret meeting, so we proceed to Resolution 1. And so we're going to record in our campaign log that we found Nigel's home and turn all of our non-cultist tablets into cultist tablets. So it means we're getting rid of our squids and putting in cultist tablets. So we put in 2 cultist tablets instead of our 2 squids. We record that we found Nigel's home. And we earn victory equal to the victory display, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. There's just not a lot of victory on this map to obtain. It's unfortunate. But at the same time, we really don't need that much experience to finish off our decks at this point anyway. Anyways, I've been rather incoherent. I'm sorry for getting so tilted by realizing the game just wanted me to hang out for 6 turns. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully in the Pallid Mask, there'll be a lot less to tilt about. On the whole, I like the scenario. It's just like, in the Conviction run, you literally don't have an objective. It's actually just hang out for a total of 16 turns. That's your goal. That's what you're trying to do. And 16 turns is just way, way too long. I had all the victory on the map with 5 turns to spare. That's outrageous. Anyway, if I try to talk about anything, I'm just going to end up being salty about being told to sandbag. So instead, I'm going to wrap it up here. I've been rather incoherent. I'll see you next time for the Pallid Mask. And I hope you enjoyed the video in spite of me going off the rails at the end. If you did, then like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And either way, I'll see you in the next one.